For over 20 years, you've consulted for high net worth individuals, generating millions for clients, including Ronco and Go Wireless. You're a contributor for Forbes magazine, an expert in online marketing and SEO strategies, as well as traditional marketing avenues. You've been granted 2 innovative patents and have operated as CIO for companies. And recently and relentlessly maintain your knowledge in step with the latest research, technologies, and best practices for businesses and individuals. The author of 7 Deadly Crypto Sins, please welcome Jefferson Nunn to the virtual Orange Couch.
Great to be here.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. How you doing? Everybody healthy around you?
Yes, so far I've been lucky. My family has been doing quite well. Within the city, Dallas and Plano, there have been a few cases, but we've been staying at home actually now for almost a month, it feels like. So, and I'm a natural, I naturally work from home, been doing that for years. I feel like the rest of the world has finally caught up to where I'm at, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
You see the hand sanitizer right back over there, right?
Yeah. I'd like to first start out with a little bit about you, your background and what makes you an expert in executive coaching and technology implementation. And then to move on to a little bit more specific CV-19 questions you touched on in your article. And I was wondering, can you talk about the unusual quickness in which the virus was identified at its epicenter, as you referenced in the article?
Yeah, that was actually really interesting. There was a doctor over there, Lee, I believe his name was. He just managed to find it so very quickly and identify it as a viral outbreak. He got in touch with his peers through, I believe it was like a WeChat group or something like that. And they very quickly, and you can see the article that was published in January, they very quickly sequenced the DNA and identified it as a SARS-related outbreak that was spreading rapidly. And they also started to recognize the incubation period and things like that. All of that very early on, down to where it originated, in that market. So it's really impressive work by this individual. And I still find it very sad that not only did he die from this virus, but that the government actually, he had to die before the government finally said, "Oh, sorry, we didn't mean to silence you."
It's amazing to me how fast it was, kind of located at its source, and unfortunately, because of other circumstances, was able to spread unchecked for quite a while.
It's because of that, China's lack of response to that. They tended to suppress and everything to save face. They didn't want the world to be worried about China or something. I don't know what their rationale is really, but because of that, we're now faced with this horrific outbreak all over the world. Had China taken measures, it could have been contained. Actually, very early on, it could have been contained. Maybe shut down one city, and that would have been it, and we would have dodged the bullet. But as it stands, there are multi-trillion dollars of losses as a result of just a sequence of comedy of errors, if you will.
Will you discuss that wild animal market in Wuhan? Some of the misconceptions that are going around about the market, and how maybe, I know you're not a doctor, but how maybe you see the spread happened from maybe this particular market.
I might have to correct my earlier statement because, again, I write based on the best information I have available, right? But It turns out there was a vendor in that market. They didn't directly sell bats and pangolins. That is, it wasn't on display. But there was a merchant at that market that did handle bats and pangolins, all right, among other animals, exotic animals. I guess they had a representative there or something. So my thought is perhaps they had a delivery that day that they delivered one, and that same handler went on to chopping and dicing other animals, um, and that's what caused ultimately the spread. Um, so China, though, has since banned this practice of selling those types of animals. So hopefully that'll prevent the next outbreak of this type, hopefully. But in the meanwhile, the other interesting fact is it's not exactly pangolin, and it's not exactly bat DNA. It's kind of a chimera between the two, according to some researchers. And yes, it mutates slowly. That's one thing that we're very fortunate about. It mutates slowly, so there is a chance that we could vaccinate against this. However, another document I saw says there's now, I think, about 8 different variations of that, such that the one that's here in the US is actually different than the one that's in China. So that's why we're having a little bit of a different profile. Also, the one that's in Italy is different than the one that was in China. That's why they have a different profile, along with the problem with their healthcare and all that. So that's where we're at.
Yeah, it does seem interesting because my wife is a nurse here in Colorado, and a lot of the cases they're seeing, there actually isn't uh, any sign of having any elevated temperature in the body, any kind of anything like that. So it is presenting with different signs here than it has in other places. So it uh, it it doesn't mutate as fast, but it is changing a little for sure.
Yeah, that mutation factor is hopefully it mutates its way out of our ecosystem, not into something worse.
Yeah,
That's the best
absolutely.
we can hope for.